Now we go to a special report from WHRW regarding the President Obama hoax which took place on campus a few months ago. We'll be back up here in a few minutes to talk live with some Binghamton students here at Mountain View's listening party for WHRW 75.
Good evening. This is Daniel Schwartz representing the Harper Radio Workshop, and I'm coming to you from inside the Harper Radio Workshop, joined tonight, of course, by DJs Charles Berman and Alana Watts. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Tonight we are, of course, celebrating the War of the Worlds at 75, the most famous hoax perpetrated in mass media, but certainly by no means the only one. Mm-hmm. The BBC's spaghetti tree in the 1950s comes immediately to mind, and we wanted to use this opportunity to allow the Harper Radio Workshop to air its own dirty laundry. And so,
in a sense, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we thought that, at this time, because this is a tribute to the Orson Welles broadcast, we thought this would be, if we're ever going to sort of own up to the hoax that we did, or take credit or blame, I guess, depending on which side or how you perceive it, this would be the time. Where WHRW a few months ago, in August, basically we started a story, or reported a story that that President Obama was going to be giving a speech in Binghamton, New York. And this, we did a report on this. This is something that Alana and I came up with.
Yes, a mad trivia party hoax.
It went out over the air, and it got picked up somehow, and it got picked up by most of the news outlets in Binghamton that President Obama would actually be appearing at the university, and I think a lot of people actually ended up. I don't know the data, because we don't subscribe to the Arbitron ratings to say how many people were listening. I don't know how many people actually believed it, but I think we managed to actually fool some people into thinking that the president was going to be in Binghamton.
What would prompt you to engage in this sort of fiction?
Well, it was a joke initially, but it seemed, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed so far out that I didn't think anyone would be tempted
I didn't believe anyone would take our word seriously.
Yeah, so it was, and again, WHRW has a news program, but it's normally more of a discussion program. We had the idea to so-called report this. And somebody must have been listening from maybe the Press and Sun, I think, or something, that this got picked up as fact. And I think that sort of speaks to how credulous people can be of the media, that you could hear one report of something and take that as if it's gospel. That we let on once that President Obama was going to be in Binghamton, New York, and somehow that became something credible that other sources of news all around town could report.
At the same time, blame can't be ascribed exclusively to people like the Press and Sun, to, say, WSKG, other news outlets in the area. It wouldn't have begun if not for the idea as conceived by you two.
Yes. And I don't think, it's hard to say exactly how extensive the belief in this was, but I think that it was, maybe we thought of it as a kind of a test of the credibility of the station, or the reach of the station, and somehow it ended up ballooning, and I don't think we thought the test was going to succeed as well as it did, or fail, depending on how you look at it.
For better or worse, it seems that the reach of the station is far greater than anyone at the Harper Radio Workshop had originally planned for. We'll be talking, when we come back in a few minutes, with some of the representatives of the university to discuss the fallout of that, the consequences of our actions. But we'll return you for now to Mountain View, where Professor Stover Ackerman and her panel are discussing the War of the Worlds at 75. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Very sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties at the Mountain View community, but we are once again in the Harper Radio Workshop. This is Daniel Schwartz. I am joined, as before, by Charles Berman and Alana Watts, and now for the first time in the studio, Ms. Geraldine Maycomber of the University Administration, the Facility Director for Binghamton University. Ms. Maycomber, welcome and good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure, certainly. With the discussion of the Obama hoax, the claim that the President of the United States, the head of the executive branch, would be speaking at our public university, originally intended, I'm given to understand by its hoaxsters, as a harmless prank.
Well, that's what we assumed.
Yes.
Clearly something that ballooned beyond the framework of its original intentions, with consequences that were in some places quite severe. Ms. Maycomber, perhaps in your own words, if you could speak to the events of the day.
Well, there definitely were consequences. But I do have to say that we did, the facilities department did react surprisingly well. There were a lot of people. And we weren't expecting that amount of people. We weren't expecting the amount of cars that we had. And we were able to handle it. We wish that we didn't have to. But I am extremely grateful that there were no injuries in this large magnitude of people. And I hope that there have been lessons learned on many sides from this event.
Well, I mean, certainly we didn't have any idea that there was going to be the kind of crowd that was expecting to see the president speak, or the kind of traffic tie-ups that there were. I mean, honestly, I mean, I thought at the time originally that we almost seeded the joke in that. The absurdity, I thought, would speak for itself, and we had the president speaking at a university at a time when the classes were not in session.
Indeed, there were no classes, barely any students on campus itself.
And then saying that it was only open to students. I mean, but certainly the university officials and the police, I'm sure, reacted as well as possible.
To have no injuries with such an influx of people without any previous notice speaks very well to the grace and the skill both of the UPD and the facility department. And for that, Ms. Maycomber, our gratitude.
Yes, we are very grateful, and it is a testament to the training that we go through constantly. There is always upgrades to training, and this was something out of the ordinary. And I have to say, all the people on our team reacted with a great aplomb, and we are just so happy that we made it through.
Yes, indeed, that nobody got hurt, as you mentioned earlier,
Yes.
an absolute blessing.
Absolutely.
Certainly, that
Absolutely.
order could be maintained
Yes.
under such circumstances. And as for lessons learned, I believe that, yes, indeed, for all that this is certainly a black mark on the Harper Radio Workshop's reputation, it is a testament both to the skill and the training of the university staff, and also apparently to the reach of the Harper Radio Workshop itself.
Right, and again, I don't know how much of this was the radio station itself being picked up, or how much of it was other sources that then picked up the piece of information or misinformation. But again, and then there was no intention on our part to worsen the university's reputation, or to make it look like the university was perpetrating any deception. This was meant to be a sort of a smaller scale, onion style thing almost, that just surprised us by getting picked up.
But whatever the intentions of our scale, it's clear that people descended onto the Binghamton University campus en masse to see the president. More on this and on the fallout and consequences as we continue this broadcast. Speaking to... Oh, gracious, ever just lose your way in the middle of the sentence? How embarrassing. But we are very grateful that in this opportunity, that in a moment when so many would converge on the campus to see the president speak on such an apocryphal occasion, I suppose might be the best way to put it. Really shocking that we are victims of our own success.
Yes, and you know, I think that it really does sort of speak to the fact that here at WHRW, I guess we may feel that this is smaller scale than some of the other media outlets that there are in the area, but I think it does highlight a responsibility that we have to take seriously. So I mean, I know that you jumped up towards your job, and I know we weren't trying to interfere with the doing of that job or cause you any kind of inconvenience in your function. It wasn't even foreseen that something like that would happen.
Right. I just hope that in the future there's a little more thought that goes into a prank.
Yes, indeed. A great deal more conscientiousness before we attempt anything so reckless in the future. Once again, we're very grateful to the University for their patience. This, of course, is the Harper Radio Workshop. I am Daniel Schwartz in the studio with Charles Berman and Alana Watts. Ms. Maycomber, we're very grateful for your presence tonight. Geraldine Maycomber, the Facility Director for Binghamton University. We'll be returning to Mountain View now for more discussion of War of the Worlds.
Over at WHRW. Thank you for the somewhat disturbing updates.
Hello and welcome again. This is Daniel Schwartz with the Harper Radio Workshop, concluding this evening with Charles Berman, Alana Watts, and I'm also joined by the General Manager of WHRW Binghamton, Dan Spaventa.
Yes, on behalf of WHRW Binghamton and all of its members, I would like to formally apologize for the inconvenience this incident has caused for members of the Binghamton community. We value this community and will do everything we can to treat our listening audience with respect and dignity. It was not our intention to cause concern, dismay, or panic with our broadcast. We hope our listening audience can forgive us, and we will do everything we can to prevent an incident like this from happening in the future. Back to you, Charles and Dan.
Thank you.
This incident, of course, being the notorious WHRW prank of late August, attempting to convince the Binghamton community at large that President Barack Obama of the United States would be speaking at Binghamton University. Speaking, of course, of the Binghamton community, as Dan did so eloquently, we would like to take a moment to solicit your calls. We are going to the phone. I understand we have some interested listeners already. We are joined by Eileen from Norwich. Eileen, we'll get you on the air, please.
Yeah, hey. I'm glad you guys had this radio show tonight. It gave me an opportunity to, spill my guts on you because I'm pretty pissed off. Oh. All right? Listen, first of all, I'm from Norwich, all right? And for a bunch of people who are supposed to be of above average intelligence, you acted like idiots, okay? First. Second of all, we rented a bus. 50 of us rented a bus to come down here. Some of us were protesters, so that bus ride was not fun. And then we get here, and it's freaking mayhem. People are pushing and shoving. There's 1,000 people here. Even the mayor is yelling at people. And I heard that lady talk about how they manage the facility. Well, I beg to differ, because then we had to get back on our bus and sit in traffic for an hour and a half. And sitting on a bus with a bunch of Palin lovers did not make me happy. So the whole day was kind of a bust. And I'm really disappointed.
Oh, I'm really sorry that you hired a bus, and we really didn't mean to get anybody out of their way like that. You heard the report somewhere that he was speaking, and you actually spent the money on a bus to see the speech?
Absolutely. literally, we left work, we took our kids out of school. This was a huge, huge thing for some of us.
I mean, we definitely didn't mean to. I mean, you didn't call and check if it was really happening or anything like that.
It was in the newspapers. It was on the radio. What else did we have to do?
Gracious. And I think Eileen does actually raise a salient point here. In the age of news media becoming more and more instantaneous, I mean, certainly we get a lot of our news from newspapers and the radio, some of us, but many more get their information from Facebook, from Twitter, from BuzzFeed, which is a real thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And to what extent does that make something like War of the Worlds or a hoax like that more or less likely in the modern age?
I mean, I guess it makes it just more likely in that, I mean...
in that the information can be transferred, can be shared so readily. I mean,
right. I mean,
we just
know,
mentioned this once on air, and it became a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you were tweeting or writing on Facebook about it. I know I saw a couple of people on Facebook who actually, a few people actually thought it was real on my Facebook after somebody else picked it up. You know, we really didn't mean anyone to actually believe it, that the president would actually show up in upstate New York. It's just, I don't think it would be good for his PR or anything even to do that. So yeah, Eileen, we're really sorry for that confusion there. I hope that it didn't put anybody too far out of their way.
Well, I'd like to see my day's wages paid back, but I'm sure that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if we would have a way to do that.
Given the resources of a student organization to public university, it's unlikely we could meet those demands, unfortunately. But certainly,
really can only apologize.
Yeah.
But we're very grateful for your patience with us in coming on tonight and the grace with which you articulated your concerns.
Well, thank you very much. All right, bye-bye.
Goodbye, Eileen, but thank you very much. I understand that the lines are really lighting up here. Our number, of course, is 607-777-2137 to voice your concerns. I'm not sure how many more we have time for, but I know that this one caller, Pete from Port Dickinson, really wanted to get in touch with us to express his feelings. Pete from Port Dickinson, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm on?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. I just want to say that you guys are freaking full of it. You know, I heard about this from you guys. I heard it on your show, and then it was in the paper and everything. So I took the day off of work, you know, and I went up there, and the reason I think you guys are full of it is because I saw Obama up there. I saw him.
You saw President Barack Obama?
Yeah.
Of the United States?
No, I mean, I think you might have seen someone that looked like Obama.
I'm not sure about that.
It was some kind of impersonator or something, or?
I mean, there's a lot of people that look like Obama. I mean, it's just. I mean, I was there when we sat down and we made up that he was coming.
So he really wasn't there. What were you guys doing? Did you just decide one day that it was like, oh, our listeners are a whole bunch of jackasses, so we'll just go ahead and tell them to do something like this, and you get us all of us to go up there. There's so many people up there, and then find out. Now I'm one of them. Look at me. I'm the idiot. I'm the big stupid idiot that fell for you guys' stupid joke. Ha ha. Funny.
No, I mean, I don't.
That was not our intention.
Yeah,
truly.
No, I mean, I think we thought people would. I mean, a lot of people would be in on. I mean, I don't think we had any idea that this many people would believe it. First of all, but I mean, sure, you just heard it on the radio. That doesn't make you an idiot.
You know, I don't know how you guys sleep at night. You guys suck.
Well, let's.
Let's
put on the. Is there another caller there?
I'm not sure if we have. I'm not sure what sort of time we have. But while we're waiting to see who else would call, certainly.
Let's see if we can. We'll see what that other person wants. I mean, hopefully we get. I mean, hopefully people aren't all as disturbed as Pete was
Hopefully, someone
maybe
calls
it'll be a
to
positive
understand
call.
the original joke.
The idea of it, yeah.
Although it certainly is very saddening to hear that people like Eileen were having their lives discomfited in this way. I'm not sure if we can.
Well, I think our phone screener is still working on that one.
Okay, but while we have a moment, if let's say that Obama were to come to Binghamton University, what sort of things would we want to hear him talk about?
Oh, well, certainly there's a lot of issues. Oh, it looks like we have another caller on the line.
Excellent.
Yeah. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello. Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
You're on the air with the Harper Radio Workshop. We're talking about the Obama hoax. We were wondering if you clearly have something you would like to contribute about that. We'd love to hear it.
You've got it. You guys are so creative. You are so awesome that
thank you.
Had everybody believe in this. You need somebody to laugh about this. And I'm sitting here listening to your radio station, and I even fell for it myself. I'm on staff, and I was helping kids move in, and the roads were blocked. There was people all over the place. We were on lockdown. We're sitting out there, and this can't be really happening. And then I didn't have a clue that it wasn't the truth until I tuned into your radio station. Happened to pick up a flyer on my floor, and I said, I got to hear this because, it's 75 years ago. I wasn't that old. I want to hear this. And I fell for it completely, and you guys are so awesome, so creative. You don't even know. Every time I hear these angry people about it, I just laugh and laugh and laugh. I'm laughing at myself. I actually believed it. You guys rock, man.
Well, thank you.
We really appreciate it.
I'm so happy that there's somebody who did have a sense of humor about it. Yeah.
We're really grateful that you're taking this in the humor with which it was clearly intended. Now,
well, thank you for calling.
I'm not sure how much time we have. We should probably wrap up. Yeah. Wrap this up for the evening. But this is Daniel Schwartz for the Harper Radio Workshop with Alana Watts, Charles Berman. We were joined, of course, by our callers, Ms. Geraldine Maycomber, the facility director for Binghamton University, and of course our general manager Dan Spaventa. Of course, always a welcome addition.
Yes, and of course Professor Stover Ackerman upstairs, and we want to thank our engineer. Does he use his real name?
He uses his real name.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Greenberg.
Thank you for an excellent engineering job.
Yes, indeed, Matt. Thank you so much. And to all of you out there, thank you for listening. We are always pleased at the Harper Radio Workshop to include you in our conversations. Keep an ear to your radio and perhaps a little bit of healthy skepticism, and I think that would be the lesson to take away from tonight.
Yes, this
Thank you and
has
good
been
evening.
WHRW Binghamton.